The Gospel of John, chapter 19, verse 30. When Jesus therefore had received the vinegar, he said, "It is finished." He bowed his head and he gave up the ghost. I ask you to forgive me from the beginning that I was not able to tag this with a title, but you would allow me to present it with the punctuation. Because after those three words, you just simply put a period. What intrigues me about these three words, "it is finished," is not simply what was said or who it was that said what was said. It's not the historical, doctrinal, philosophical, or epistemological value in analyzing what was said. But what galvanizes my interest is the brevity of words used to say what was said. In this sixth saying of Jesus, he specifically chooses to say only three words. It is finished. The ministry exercise of operating under what I call the three-word proclamation is by no means foreign to Jesus. I believe some of his best work and demonstration of kingdom authority took place from the manner of what's called a trifold articulation. You remember this one here, to calm an obvious agitation of his disciples during a raging storm, he rose from a deep sleep. He looked directly into the eyes of the winds and the waves, and with simplicity of a presentation, he simply said three words: "Peace, be still." Then there was a time that he was attending a homegoing service for a very dear friend of his, and he walks in and shifts the atmosphere of all the mourners who had been grieving and stressing over the loss of their dear brother, and with a compelling call to a deceased to be dead no more, he simply used three words: "Lazarus, come forth." Early in his ministry, just literally as he descended from the mount where he taught the disciples how to fast and to pray, it's where great multitudes gathered around him. One was a leper who cried out to him for deliverance and decontamination from a disease that was debilitating. Jesus responded by putting forth his hand, touching the man, and said, "Be thou clean." Finally, and for the sake of time, allow me to share one of my favorite examples of the Messiah's miracle might with minimal modulations, and that is in the way which a woman who had an issue of blood for 12 years, y'all remember the story, she disrupted the direction of his deliverance by redirecting his deity toward her dilemma. In an act of desperation and determination, she reached for the hem of his garment. At the point of her connection, he deliberately, decisively, and demonstratively raised a three-worded question: "Who touched me?" So you see, I am intrigued, not at the method or the mindset, but more so I'm captivated by why he chose this moment. The four examples I previously mentioned, all of them are accompanied by miracles. But this was not the time of, nor the time for miracles. This was the time of and the time for misery. So why would he specifically use these three words of proclamation if it's not intended for some sort of divine presentation? Y'all ask good questions. Can we dig into this? Then I realized that this is not a move for the miraculous. No. It's not a move for a miracle. This is, allow me to paint it like this, a son's culmination for a father's declaration. When he says it is finished, it is a son's culmination for a father's declaration. So I went back and discovered that the three-word proclamation did not have its origin in the working of miracles, but rather its foundation was in God's formation and establishment of creation. You see, when the Father our God decided to create heaven and earth, water and dry land, moon and stars and the like, he began by using three words. Let there be. God was certainly capable of creating all at one time, but in order for you and I to appreciate the magnitude of his authority, he did it in phases. So he said, let there be light. He said, let there be firmament. He said, let there be waters. He said, let there be dry land, and so on and so on and so on. From that point until Calvary, the enemy has been doing all in his power to disconnect us from the victory and the promises of God. I feel like preaching. Sin brought about separation, and no man was able to reconnect us to the Son, to the God that created us. Then after 42 generations, he came, and the three-word declaration, which was about to be validated by the three-word culmination, began to manifest in what I call the three-word confirmation. God, for he was more than a babe wrapped in swaddling clothes. He was more than a doctor in somebody's sick room. He was more than a calmer of the raging seas, and more than an operator. He was operating in a three-word confirmation. Y'all remember these words? He was King of Kings. He was Lord of Lords. He was Prince of Peace. He was seed of David. He was bread of heaven. He was great I am. He was joy in sorrow, and he was hope for tomorrow. So he said it. That one word right there is inclusive of everything that is a deterrent and a distraction in your life. Whatever it was that disrupted your blessing was now being turned over and handed over to Jesus forever. So if it was depression, if it was oppression, if it was accusation, if it was isolation, if it was persecution, if it was prosecution, whatever it was being handled. I wish you would grab somebody for the first time and tell them, neighbor, turn it over to Jesus. I feel like preaching here. God Almighty. The second word he said was is. Is the tense of the and the timing of the transformation. Is speaks to the right now. Is addresses the current problem or situation that's prevalent and present in your life. Is indicates that whatever your it is or it was, it's being handled right now. In other words, there's no delay. There's there's no deny, there's no hindering, there's no hampering, there's no impeding, there's no interfering, there's no blockage, and there's no breakage, there's no obstruction and no destruction. It's not past tense, meaning you missed it. That would be it was. It's no future tense, meaning you gotta wait for it. That would be it shall. It's not optimistic, because that would mean you gotta hold out. That would be it may be. It's not pessimistic, which means you have to worry about it. That would be it could be. God, but he said it is. No future tense, no past tense, but it's about to happen. 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 Jesus saying, oh God, it is finished. That one word, finish, can be described in several ways. Finished, completed, finished, concluded, finished, terminated, finished, over and done, finished, that's the end, finished, accomplished, finished, executed, finished, discharged, finished, fulfilled, finished, I'm done, finished, means sewn up, finished, polished off, finished, see you when I see you, finished, even mercy, finished, it's now into my hand. Somebody in the building is wrestling with a spirit that's trying to mess up your next move. If I was Luther, I would tell you it is finished. If I was Michael Jackson, I would tell you it is finished. Lean over and grab your neighbor. Lean over and grab your neighbor. Tell a neighbor, whatever it is, whatever it is, whatever it is, it is. And with that, I am